Okay, so we've got the beginnings of an environment now for our two animals. Okay, so having created our sky and our field, I've now still got mostly yellow on the brush. There's still a bit of blue in there, but let's grab some of the fluorescent orange and see what we get when we add a bit of that to the mixture. And we'll grab a little bit of the cerulean blue as well. And that's created a green, which was not my intention, so we'll come back in with the orange. There we go, that's created kind of an interesting ochre, orangey, coppery brown. So let's see if we can add some of that to these sheep and make it work. So for example, under the chest there, and there as well. Under the chest and along the left hand side of the head, further down the chest. And although it's not this colour, it's fairly dark tone there, so I'm putting some of that in. As we come up the belly, or up the side of the animal, put some there. Perhaps a little bit there on the back of the lamb. Could even come a bit further left. I think that's all I want to do with that one. Now if I grab another big lump of the orange, I haven't washed my brush out, but I'm going to mix that in with some of the ultramarine blue to get hopefully a bit of a different brown. Let's go a little bit bluer. Sorry, I was mixing that off camera, but let's see what I'm trying to think where to put this to test it. Oh, that's not too bad. That's a fairly dark colour. Okay, so I'm going to put some of that on the legs. I'm going to use it fairly sparingly, though, I think, as probably my deepest shadow colour. And if I use this as the shadow colour on the inside of the ears, the right side of the head is in quite deep shadow. And the same with the lamb. Right side of the head, right side of the neck. A little bit of shadow on the left side of the head. Inside of the ear can be darker. And the left ear as well. And then I'm trying to preserve some of the original painting that I've done. So that's why I'm not taking the shadow all the way down the legs. So I'm trying to balance my observations and, going for something which is reasonably representative with the kind of expressive statement I've made with my original mark making. So all right, well, I've washed my brush out reasonably well, and I'm picking up some of that clean titanium white and mixing that into the first of the coppery browns that I created. And you know, I'm happy to have some brilliant white on the fleeces of the sheep, and in fact probably most of it will stay that way, but I just want to, you know, put in a bit of a light tone in places, again just using the sort of dry brush technique to suggest some texture on the wool without sort of going through the laborious process of trying to describe every little bit. And perhaps put a little bit of that up there as well, just to connect the top of the head to the bit of wool which is sticking out over the top, and then, you know, to stay consistent across the painting, we'll do something similar on the lamb. Now the shadow on the lamb, it's actually got quite a bit of purple in it, and there's some nice purples and blues in the shadows, but I think I'm going to struggle to create those purples with the colour scheme I've got. I could add some red to my palette, I guess, but I'm quite content, I think, at the moment to keep the colour scheme very, very simple. So in terms of, you know, big brush painting, because I've used this single brush for the entire painting so far, that's as far as I'm going to go. And then I think I just need to add a few details to the heads, possibly with watercolour marker. But I'm going to let that dry now completely, and then I'll be back in a bit. So I'm